Good morning, everyone. I'm going to actually officially be starting at 6:40 or 7 o'clock because I want to make sure that everyone has a chance to get in and check out the training today. We're going to be trading. We might get into some live trades, but I want to definitely go over this EFC strategy and show you guys how to use the EFC. I've got a lot of people been asking me. I just did the 20 trade challenge, and I'm going to continue taking trades on those. For those of you that don't know what a 20 trade challenge is I just was trading live, and everyone could see my live channel and see all the trades I was making live. So it was pretty exciting. Just got finished up with it. Actually, I got one trade left on the live training. And so it's going to be pretty cool to see all that. My results were pretty good. I got one trade open, so it's not official, but it's cool. So I want to keep going with that. But instead of trading, I was trading the Savvy MACD, which was one of our free tools. A lot of traders were asking about the EFC and how that can be taken and how you can make that profitable and all of that good stuff. So we're going to go ahead and dive into that in a little bit. I'm going to make sure that I show you how to trade it, what the strategy does, every single thing about it. So you guys will have no questions at the end of this about EFC. So right now I want to see if you guys have any if you guys can hear me and all that stuff, because we are going to be starting in 10 minutes. I want to make sure everything's good on that side of things. So pretty excited about it. I think it's going to be pretty cool. Yeah, so it's good. Okay. All right. Well, it looks like everything's coming through okay. So that's good. Yes, Mason, Mr. Mason, good to see you. And we're going to continue on what we were doing. We're just doing it a little bit differently than normal. I'm going to be doing the EFC specifically. And so we're going to dive right into it. But yeah, it's going to be good. So if you're excited about this like me, just go ahead and hit that like button, guys. Let's get this thing on the map, get as many people in here as we can today. Want to see if we can really help people out, get them using this EFC and using it successfully. So one of the things, this thing, it's funny because it's just been working so well recently, and I'm going to go over all that too. But it's been a great system here of late, and very excited about that, about helping you guys get this system up and running. So I think while we're waiting, I can go ahead and just review some of the old trades. Let's see here. So here's the 20 trade spreadsheet. Actually, we got everything updated here, except for I didn't update this CAD yen, which did close out, and it ended up being $580.45. So yay, $540.85. Kind of a lower trade for me, but that's okay, because guess what? It's a win, and it adds to my profit. So trying to get it 3,000, but I locked in, and it ended up coming back. And we can go ahead and take a look at that too if we want. But so we're gonna just add this plus that equals there. Okay, so right now our total profit in the challenge is 7,000, and so we're going to take all the winning trades, comma, there we go, and so drop my average. Well, no, I gotta drop that. So we got 6 wins. I took 20 trades, got 6 wins, and it's not terrible, but it could have been better. So right now I'm at 25% win rate, and that's well, six out of 20. But I actually got another win here because this USD Swiss is still open right here, and we'll cover that. But so right now, let's for some reason my grid's not updating. Data range, that might be it. Edit chart. Oh, here we go. Okay, so the data range is to F19. We want to go A23 here to F19, F19. Okay, so we want to go to F23. So let's just change that. Okay. For some reason we got a blank here. Maybe it's because I didn't fill this one up. So once that's filled up, it'll be up. But right now, you can see we're currently at 8,000. So trades to go in the challenge, 0. The trade is complete. I actually ended at 8,370 other than this USD Swiss. But other than that, after 20 trades to make $8,000 in profits, pretty good. My first win was way back, or my first trade was way back in February. It's been about a month. It took me about 20 days to do these 20 trades because I do about 1 trade a day on average. So that's about it. 1 day a trade. So let's go ahead and go over that CAD yen while we're waiting for everybody to show up, and then we're gonna go ahead and dive into the EFC, and it's gonna be really good. Some great training available today on this EFC. For those of you that are EFC members, just go ahead and let me know in the chat and how you like it. I know not everybody's loving it right now, but I'm going to try to change that because it really does work, and just a few more tweaks to the way that you trade it could make a huge difference in your results. And that's why I'm doing this free training today, is to try to help everybody with the free results, or with the EFC results, for those of you that have it. For those of you that don't have the EFC, you can buy it. It's in the link below, and you can get access to it. And if you don't have it, that's okay too, because there's actually training. You can trade this strategy for free. You don't need to have our indicator. We just created the indicator to help you find the setups, but you actually don't have to have it. So this is all totally free training. And by the way, for everyone, if you didn't know, we are currently giving away our full-time trader course for free because of what's going on in the world right now. We just thought it would be a really good idea to help people. The whole team at Trading Strategy Guides came up with this just to help people and really get them to the next level in their training and in their trading, because everybody's going to need some extra revenue right now. And it's just, we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to make sure you guys aren't blowing up accounts. Because one of the biggest things is when you're trading under pressure, I feel like that causes you to make more mistakes, just like anything else. So we want you to have that training that you need so that you're not making those mistakes. Okay, anyways, let's go ahead and look at the trade. So CAD yen is what I took, and you can take a look at it. I entered in down here. Let's see on the hourly. I entered in on a break of this hourly, and I was up pretty nice, 260 pips. However, I locked in some profit because I didn't want to take a loser. I knew the trading challenge was coming to an end. So what I did was I put my marks here. I entered right here. Then when it was all the way up here, the price was all the way up here, I decided, you know what, I'm just going to lock in some profit. So I moved my stop loss right here. And so I ended up only taking 100 pips. But you know what, 100 pips, I'll take 100 pips, right? That's not bad. I gave up some because my target my target was all the way up here. So my goal was actually to get about 400 pips, and I only got 90 something. Okay, so I was way short, but it closed out the challenge with a winner, so I'm not too upset about it. Hey Tom, good morning, thanks a lot. Actually, I'm pretty happy. I was pretty cool. Okay, so that's where that is, and I updated it in the 20 trades log. And oh, and by the way, the 20 trades spreadsheet is available in the chat. There's a link to this spreadsheet, so you can see what I'm doing. I don't give you guys access to it because you can just build your own. I use Google Sheets. You can just build your own. It just gives you an idea. But I do recommend that everybody do something like that. Something else that you can do with your spreadsheet is you can, I've got the trades on one sheet. I keep the images on the other. You can actually even keep trade notes too. Like you could take an image of your trade, copy it, paste it, and just throw it right into your spreadsheet so you can see what you were thinking with a couple notes here and there. To me, that stuff is so valuable because at the end of the month, when you look and you're looking at your stats and you're noticing you're up or down, you can look at your thought processes and what you did right and what you did wrong. And that's one of the things that I'm doing here with these 20 trade challenges is I can just say, okay, this is what I did right, this is what I did wrong. But as of right now, I still have the USD Swiss trade open, and we can go ahead and take a look at that. And if you guys are totally lost right now, if you didn't know I was doing a 20 trade challenge, that's what I was doing. And so if we go ahead and look at this USD Swiss, this is the last trade I have in the challenge. And so I entered in right here, and I'm currently up 400 pips. And during the challenge, I was risking $1,000 per trade. And of course, you don't have to risk 1,000. You can risk whatever you want, whatever is smart. And of course, also, this is all for educational purposes. I don't want anyone to follow me or do what I do because I'm me and I'm a lot different than everybody else. And we're all different. And trading is risky. So just don't do what I do. Just learn from what I'm teaching. Okay. So anyways, I got in here, and I did take this trade twice. Once was here, and I got stopped out by like 5 pips and ended up losing. But my first entry was way down here, and that one would have been insane had I kept that on. But it is what it is. You just got to take what the market gives you and go with it. All right. So I currently have, if we can drag this over where it shows the profit, it won't do it for me today, but I'm currently got it locked in about $6,000. Oh, there it is. So this is a stop loss. It's a trailing stop. I have locked in $296 at $6,000. And I tightened it up just because it was getting a little slow up there. You could see there was a little bit of a tail, a little bit of resistance. And I didn't want to give up too much, because the challenge is basically done. It was a good challenge, but this is a $6,000 trade. Now, on the other side, my target is at 485 pips with a target of $9,828. So at this point, I have one trade left in the challenge, and I'm either going to get $9,828 added or $6,000. And obviously, I'd like to get that extra $4,000 added to the challenge, but again, I can't. There's nothing I can do about it. So mindset will tell me just take what the market gives you and be thankful. Be thankful. Yes, I'll be thankful if I get that $6,000 trade. I'll just close it up and say 20 trade challenge done. Good stuff. Happy, happy, happy. If I hit the 4,000 extra and hit a $10,000 winner, I'll be really happy as well. So again, I called this the position of power. I got the trade locked in. Either way, I'm doing great. And one of the things, if I go back to the spreadsheet, I had talked about being the ability right now. I could lose 8.3 trades in a row and still be at break even. And if I hit this $10,000 trade, it would go from 8 up to 18, because that would be an extra 10,000. And it would take my profit to close this challenge out at $18,000. 20 trades, $18,000 in 20 trades, not bad. So again, just another thing to note is this market has been a little generous recently. Some people have been panicking and it's been crazy, but for someone that knows what they're doing, which I'm hoping that you guys will be into that category very soon, this is just whatever. It's just normal trading. Just take advantage of what we got. So now it's 7 o'clock, so for those of you that got an update, you can go back and watch this, but that was the 20 trade challenge. I am now going to go ahead and do the EFC training. So let's go ahead and get started. So I have an indicator that's been selling on my website, tradingstrategyguides.com, for quite some time. And it's really designed to catch reversals. And we can go ahead and look at it here. Let me show you something here. So this is the current EFC on the euro dollar. And so what it does is it finds reversals and it shows you the entry and the stop loss. So I'm not actually going to get too much into the indicator itself today, but you can see right here the price went way up. You see how far up this thing went? It went way up. So then the EFC says, hey, it's overextended, because we know how the market moves, right? How does the market move? Let me just show you. It goes up, and then it goes down. And it's either going to go trending or sideways. So if it's going to go, there's a trending, right? Okay. So that's a trending market. So we have to know if a market's going trending or sideways before we enter in. But that's what it does, right? But what we got to know is even when it is going up, right up here, the market starts to get tired and starts to give signals that it's going to reverse. It's going to reverse. It's going to reverse. Now, what the EFC indicator does is it helps me. So just a real heads up on this EFC and all indicators. We have a bunch of indicators, and I want people to really get this. They need to understand that indicators are not trading systems. You still have to have a lot of things with the indicator. You have to have the right trading mindset. You have to have the right strategy to go with the indicator, and you have to have the right money management system. And I try to give traders all three, but most traders believe that they get an indicator and then that solves all their problems. And when they have that faulty mindset going in, they get this indicator, they take a few trades, and they're like, oh man, this thing doesn't work. And I hear that all the time. This thing, I lost 2 trades, it doesn't work, right? And so it's hard for me to help people when they think like that. And I'm trying to help people, but it's hard because they have false expectations, and maybe I don't know where those come from. It could be my fault because I do marketing. I'm trying to sell an indicator, obviously, but I don't want anyone to get any false expectations. So you need 3 things. You need your mindset, you need strategy, and you need money management. If you have those 3 things, you're going to be good at trading. But an indicator is just part of a strategy, and it's not even the whole strategy. It's just a part of it. So the EFC indicator is part of a reversal strategy, but it just helps you identify when the market is going to make a reversal, okay? And so I want to kind of get that going on the front end so everybody has a good understanding of what that is. Now, what I also want to show you is just this particular trade here. You can see that this is exactly what happened. The market went up crazy, and if you can see the lines, the EFC then told us when to enter. Okay, but you still got to have your strategy, your money management, your mindset, all of those things. Like the spreadsheet with the 20 trade challenge, do that when you're using the EFC. I am working with customers. I have a support person, but I also look at a lot of these I try to help. I'm training my support person. I'm trying to help. And I look at a lot of them, and I always ask them, I say, well, the EFC doesn't work for you, because that's what, well, they say. They say the EFC doesn't work, okay? And I'm like, okay, well, tell me, how many trades have you taken? What's your win rate? What's your loss rate? How successful has it been? And no one has ever told me, and I'm not exaggerating, no one's ever said, well, here's my spreadsheet, here's my win and loss rate, this is all that. So they're not tracking the proper numbers, because I can't tell you why it's not working if you can't even tell me what your results are. Everything that has success has to be measured. You have to have results on these things. And so it's just like in business. It's just like in life. It's just like trying to lose weight. It's like running a personal finance. All of these things, you have to have measurement. My life in general, I measure my life. I look at my goals for my life, the days that I've been alive, the days for the end of my life. I try to plan my life and look at it and measure whether it's successful or not, right? I don't just go and jump in and start doing things. I plan it. So we've got to start planning. And so that's the heads up on the EFC, is you got to start planning. Now, this was a great trade, right? So right now, this is currently 425 pips. So was there anyone that was using the EFC? If there's any EFC members here, just let me know. Hit that like button for me and tell me if there's any EFC members in here and give us a shout out. Thank you. But is there anyone that's in this trade too? Let me know that. But this was a great setup. This is an absolutely great setup here on the EFC. Very excited about it. And there's a bunch of them right now. The markets have been doing really well. But this is traded on a daily time frame. And when you're using a daily, there's a big stop. This is a 370 pip stop loss. And this is the 1,000. And so Tom, I'm actually gonna I'm not gonna get into all that stuff right now, because I'm gonna teach the strategy first. So let me just get in there. But yes, I personally don't trade it on the daily because of these big stops. Right, these are huge. It works really well, but it's just right for me. It's a little bit too big. So I'm gonna get into that when I dive into the strategy. So let's. I'm gonna actually pull up my website right now, and you can get to my website here. I did not actually. Let's see if I can post it in the chat. But if you want to check it out on your own, but this has everything you need to know, right? You can trade with this strategy right here based on our website. Everything you need is right here. So I'm going to go over it a little bit. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. You can look at it on your own. I'm just going to hit the critical parts, and then I'm going to go through some examples on the charts. The EFC is a tool that we sell on our website, but let's not worry about that right now. I just want to teach the strategy first. And if you want to get the tool, you can. If you don't want the tool, don't worry about it, because you don't really need it. I mean, it's an added bonus. And that's one of the things I'm trying to get at with traders is indicators just help you. It's a visual advantage, but it's not totally necessary. So let's just go ahead and take a look at, so RSI, it's based off the RSI, okay? And the RSI is a tool that shows overbought and oversold, okay? But the problem is, well, before I get into the problem, let's just explain it. Here is the 20 mark and the 80. Most people use a 70-30. We program the EFC to be 80-20 so that it's a little bit more oversold, so that the signals are a little more accurate. But when it's oversold, what's going to happen with the market is traditionally you're going to start getting a bounce. Okay, you're going to get a bounce and the price is going to go the other direction. As you can see here, a lot of times it's going in the middle, but when it really spikes up, you're going to get a bounce because the market becomes oversold. You get much more, right at this point, you got a lot of buyers buying, and then all of a sudden people are shorting, and this thing is just going to drop. Okay, and that's what the advantage of using the RSI is. Okay, now, there is some issues with the RSI. One of them is you don't know when the market is going to reverse, and this strategy will actually help you with that. This strategy will help you, if you follow it properly, it will help you make sure that your fake false signals, your losing trades are going to be less. And I'm going to get into that really quickly. So one of the things we do, instead of using a 14 period, we use an 8. And instead of the 7 and 30, we change the settings from 80 to 20. And I'll show you how that works in the trading platform right here. So let me just plug in an RSI. So you insert oscillators, and we're going to go to RSI. And this is an MT4 platform. Okay. And you see how I changed it to 8, and you also want to notice, let's go to the properties of this. Indicators list, RSI, edit. So I'm going to change this from 20 to 80. Okay. All right, so you can see how this looks on a chart. All right, so this is it, euro dollar. So it went below, and once it went below here, I'm looking for longs. And if you guys, it's really interesting. Go back to my 20 trade challenge and watch my first trade. I actually took this trade. Now, the funny thing is I wasn't using the EFC indicator. I was using the MACD. There's more than one way to get into a trade. You just got to design the system that works for you. Don't use too many multiple indicators. Just try to understand what the market is doing. Right now, you got to realize that the market was oversold here. And this was actually when the market was starting to get a little bit crazy at first, when the epidemic was starting to go and the markets were starting to get nervous. That was happening right in here. And the dollar got very weak at that point. And then now the dollar's strengthening. So anyways, right in here, what should we be looking for? We should be looking for longs. We should be looking for an actual signal to go long. Now, here's where it gets crazy. So this is a 20, but sometimes a lot of traders are looking to get in at the 70, which made it right about here. Or the 30, I mean, which would have been right here. Okay, this is 30. Oversold. The default settings on this indicator is 30. Go ahead and check your MT4 platform. Now, let's go ahead and see where this would go. This is 30. Actually, let me draw a line just so you guys can see. This is 30. Right? No. Now I can't click it. There we go. Drop it down. Okay, so this is 30 right here. Now, when it first hit that level at 30, it would have been right here. Okay, so now I'm going to drag this up. This is where it would be on the chart. This is where it would be on the chart in this area. And so most of the traders that are using RSI are starting to add the trade long right here. What does that mean? Well, that means this trade still went down another 160 pips, and all of these traders are getting absolutely crushed because they're using the wrong settings on their indicator. Okay, so we're going to try to help you with avoiding that. So step one to this strategy is you got to find a new low, and it's a new low in the last 50 candles. And then right here, I haven't counted this, but I think this is 50 candles, okay? And if I zoom out, you can see it. Because you want to try to find a new low for a long period of time. And yeah, it's definitely a new low with 50 candles, okay? So that's the first thing you want to look at. But then you need to have something which is called divergence, okay? And what divergence is it means when the market makes a new low, but the RSI indicator doesn't. Okay, so let's go ahead, let me get rid of these lines and show you what divergence is. So first, step one is look back 50 candles. And it's all in the article that I just showed you, right on this website, this whole thing. So if you missed something, it's all in here. I put the link in the chat. I'll put it below the description at the end of the video. Everything is right here. Okay, now, so step one, make sure you're at a new low with 50 candles. Step two, you got to be below this 20 period. A lot of people use the 30, but we're using the 20 just so it drops lower. See the difference between the 20 and the 30? Big difference. From this price all the way down to here, which is the first break of the 20. So that's right there. That difference is pretty big, about 70 pips, 60 pips. Okay, so step one, look back 50 candles. It's got to be a new low. Step two, it's got to be below the 80 or 20 or 80, right? That's step two. Step three is we're looking for divergence. What divergence means is that the indicator, the price makes a new low and the indicator does not. So right here, you can see that our indicator here made a new low and it was at 12. Okay, and the price was, where was the price? The price was here. And yet then it went down again even further. It went not real far, it went down another 15 pips, but what happened to the indicator? The indicator went up. So what it means is, and this is explained very clearly in the article, what it means is that when the price goes down to a new low like it did here, and the indicator goes up, that means it's starting to get tired. Okay, so you've got to find divergence. So there's an example of divergence. Let's go to this upside, see if we could find it. And so here we had a new high right here, and then we went up, we peaked right here, and this one actually didn't look like it had divergence, but there's some other things. So this one was just a straight up reversal without divergence. Sometimes divergence doesn't happen, okay? And sometimes, so there's so many variables, right? And I don't want to get into confusing people, but when I talked about the 30 period, you know, sometimes the market does reverse on the 30. Sometimes it reverses on the 20. So you just got to pick something and stick with it and play the averages. Because once you get into a trade, you don't know what the market's going to do. You're either going to win or lose. The market can either go in your direction or it can go against you. But I do have a couple other things that I'm going to show you here in a little bit that's going to help with this. Okay. So again, I'm just going to keep repeating this just so you guys can get this. You look back for 50 days, you're looking for a new high or new low. You're looking for the price to go below the 80 or the 20 move or RSI. And also, you're looking for a divergence. Okay, so you got all these things that you're looking for before you can even take a trade. Now, the next thing you're looking for is for a new high or low to be taken out. Because what happens is that we don't know when this fall is going to stop. Because when, like right here on the upside, it got overstrength way up here. Right? It crossed the 80 here. And if you just get in when it crosses the 80, you just lost 500 pips. So by itself, the overbought and oversold indicator is terrible. Okay? And so on the daily time frame, this is an excellent indicator, but it just doesn't give signals. Every trader in the world thinks that, oh, it's oversold, I'm going to get in. But they get crushed. Okay? But what we got to do is wait for those things to happen that we're looking for. So it takes a lot of patience. And so after we get it to cross over, we're looking for divergence next. And divergence, again, is just a signal saying, oh, we're looking for a reversal to come. We still don't get in yet for The actual entry comes when the price breaks a level. And the level that we're looking for is when we first spot divergence, we want to see the price break that low. Okay, so in this case, you can see this was an older trade. This one, see how it crushed this level? And that was this old level I showed you right here. So price broke through this old high. So basically, we're just looking for a price to break resistance. That's it. So we just keep waiting, keep waiting, keep waiting. We know the reversal's coming, but we wait for the resistance to break. And then when we do, we enter the trade. And we're looking for, on this indicator, it's a 1 to 3. So in this situation, it was 150 stop loss, and the target was 450, right? So we're looking for a 3 to 1. And I'm going to interrupt the training just a little bit because this is so important. Look, let's go ahead and look at my 20 trade spreadsheet. I'm getting a 3.87 to 1 on my risk to reward. Almost a 4 to 1. And by the time that this last USD Swiss trade that I currently have open, I'm going to be back over 4 to 1. And so it's important that you follow your risk to reward ratio because I'm winning only 30% of my trades, and yet I've made $8,000 in profit. And you guys know these have all been live right here in front of you for the last 20 trades. You guys have seen me take every single one of these trades. You know this is 100% real. You can watch the entire series on YouTube by looking at this link that's in the spreadsheet, and this spreadsheet is in the chat, in the description. All right, and I'm not going to give anyone this spreadsheet. This is my spreadsheet, but you can look at it and make your own. Okay, so my whole point is the risk to reward on the EFC is 3 to 1. So that means we can win like 33% and still make money. The reason I'm making money at 30% is because I'm going 3.87. So the longer you hold out for your winners, the better it is. And I'll be honest, you guys don't necessarily have to blindly follow. If you buy the EFC indicator, you don't have to blindly follow it. You can make your risk to reward whatever you want, but you want to make sure that it's getting your winners big and your losers small. Okay, so with that, so here was an entry, and the market had been so crazy here that we had to find our stop all the way up here for the down entry. So our stop was actually 380 pips, and the target is actually way down here. The target, this is a massive trade. And so that, when the market is moving a little crazy, you do need to give it a little bit bigger of a stop because you don't want to get whipped out on all your trades. Right now, we've got really fast market movement. So just to recap, the strategy is you look back for the most recent high. You want to try to find a high or a low. And then from there, you want to make sure it crosses below the 20 or above the 80, depending on if it's a long or short. Then you're looking for divergence, and then you're looking for a break of support or resistance. That's all you're doing. As a matter of fact, I just did that on this CAD yen, the CAD yen trade that I took. And that was the last trade in the series I took, and it was a profitable one. But you can see I don't have the EFC on here. I can throw it on in a second. But I waited for this thing to get oversold down here. And then what did I wait for? I waited for a breakout. What was the breakout? It was this level here. I waited for price to break, and I got in right here. Now, I didn't have the EFC on. I was just using the MACD at that point. You can use any type of indicators that you want for finding reversals. So if I throw this EFC on here, see if it would have triggered a signal. And it looks like the signal was a little bit earlier here. The buy entry on that would have been here. You see that? And this is an hourly chart. Okay, So let's go ahead now and just take a look at the EFC and how it works. So one of the other cool advantages I do recommend that you get the indicator is you can find the reversals using our dashboard. So this is all for this is all on MT4, and this has a dashboard that scans all of the markets, and it will give you the trades. Okay, and so look right how. These are all the setups. So you don't have to scan every single pair. You just go, oh, here we go. We got one. So right now it's got the euro. And so I just pop it. And it shows a little mini chart here of the euro dollar. And then you can also then pop over, and we could look at it on a 15-minute time frame. And you can adjust all those settings on this. You can adjust these settings in here by going to objects list or indicators list, and then you pop up EFC dashboard, edit, and then it shows you all of the different symbols that it'll watch and how to edit them. And as we're trading this, I'm also going to be looking at making this tool better. We update our tools pretty regularly, and whenever you buy a tool, you get all the updates. I'm going to try to make some improvements here as I am learning, and anytime you guys that have bought the EFC and you want to show us ways we can improve it, please let us know. We're going to try to do that. We're going to try to improve these tools. So right now, you can kind of see the USD Swiss has a signal showing up. It shows the euro dollar has a signal. It shows euro Swiss. This scans all of them. But I don't recommend just blindly jumping in and taking a trade, but jumping in and looking at what's happening. So there's the USD Swiss. So let's go ahead and pop over at the USD Swiss. So this is a trade that I've already took based off of my 20 trade challenge, but I'm going to just drop in and throw the EFC on here. And it'll be interesting to see how much difference the EFC is based off the trade that I took. So let's go ahead and throw that EFC on here. Okay, so you can see EFC. The entry on this was much later than what I got in. And so it's a little bit different. But there is a little trick that I like to use. Do you see how big this stop loss is? This stop loss is insane. Like 450 pips. I personally just can't take a stop that big. Right? I like using dailies, but what I would have done is I would have waited for this thing to get oversold on a daily and then take the entry on a lower time frame. So let's do that. Let's mark this out. So this happened on March 9th. So I'm going to now take a look at an hourly, okay? And we're going to go back. We're going to go back to March 9th and see if the EFC gave us any signals. And let's get rid of this MACD here. Delete indicator window. Okay, so March 9th. Did the EFC give us any type of signals on that point? So take a look. These are past signals, and they're useful to find out what type of trades would work and what wouldn't. But one thing you'll notice is this was an entry, and this ended up being a loser. Okay, and it just barely lost because it just barely got in. So you want to make sure, even though the indicator, you can adjust the settings, you want to make sure you get a really nice break of the level. Okay, and that's really important. That's going to help you. And I personally like to wait for a really strong break. So you're looking for the price to be oversold, but all of these, it's not telling you, well, all of these, when you get an initial signal, it still could continue to go down. Just like I said earlier, it can continue to drop and continue to drop. And then finally, this would have been a great entry right here. And you can see these candles, when they have this dark black line on them, that is when it's triggering and it's telling you signal's ready. You can actually adjust these settings to be whatever you want. And this will change based off of what you're looking at, but you can make all these the same color. You can make them change the size of these lines just to give you a visual identification here. But you can kind of see here how these lines are bigger. They're fatter. And it will also tell you with these lines here and the arrows, we're showing momentum and it's time to get in. So what you want to try to do with this strategy is you want to find the direction and you want to find the oversold in a longer time frame. So in that case, these lines will start to change color. You're going to get your divergence. You're understanding that the market is oversold. And once you understand that, you know that all you need is a reversal. And when you get that reversal, that's when you take your trade. But I like to drop it down onto a lower time frame. For those of you that saw my 20 trading challenge, you saw that I had done that on this trade. As a matter of fact, I took this trade all the way down here, and just like the EFC got stopped out a couple times, I personally got stopped out in the live trade. I know some of you guys that were in here, you remember that I got stopped out. And that's just what happens sometimes. It's just what happens. So you just got to let the market move. But fortunately for me, I got back in, didn't let it mess me up. And I'm like, oh, crap. I missed the perfect entry. I got stopped out by 5 pips. It went right to my target. And if anyone has ever had that happen to them, they know how frustrating that is. You're right about the trade, but you lose money. Like, how frustrating is that? That is the worst. It's absolutely the worst. I hate that. However, because I know that the market is going to do what it's going to do, and I've got my mindset attuned to that, I'm like, okay, I missed it. A little bit bummed, but I just looked for another entry, and I got in. And you can see there it is. There's my personal entry here. And if we go back down to a 15-minute time frame, there's a lot of signals on this, but we're going to be looking at this, and right now it is currently in an uptrend, right? So what is one thing that you can do when the market is strong and it's in an uptrend? What is something that you can do to try to get into these trades? Well, there's been a lot of opportunities to take these types of signals on uptrends. And so what you do is you realize the trend is very strong to the upside, and you wait for pullbacks. Okay, you wait for pullbacks. So here's a signal right here. Look at this one. We go down, it went below, it dropped 80 pips, and you can see it says EFC entry. Look at this entry. This is perfect. Okay, and I'm not trying to just cherry pick and find the winners, because to me it doesn't matter. I mean, I know that if I win 30% of the time, I'm still going to make money because of my risk to reward. So I don't really care, to be honest. Yeah, there's a lot of losers, but there's going to be a lot of winners. Okay, so here's one right here. This is a perfect entry. We know that this is a strong uptrend. This is the USD Swiss. You want to get in on a little bit tighter. Well, here's your entry right here. And the cool thing about this is a 10 pip stop loss and a 30 pip target. 10 pip stop loss, 30 pip target, and it just crushed it, right? However, if you're like me, which probably you're not like me, because everybody's different, and thank God that you're not like me, because I'm a good guy, but I got a lot of issues. If you're like me, you're going to try to let this thing go up, right? I love letting this thing roll. there's so many different ways you can do this. You can just let this thing go and try to nail it. And, once you get up a certain amount, you can lock in profit, which is what I did on the USD Swiss. This is currently a 15-minute time frame, okay? But on the daily is what I usually will look at. So I got in here, and I'm currently up 400 pips right now. But I had a very tight stop. I had like a 40 pip stop. I had a 40 pip stop, and I'm up 400 pips. And I don't know for sure if it was 40. It might have been 50. I don't know. But that's my point. So we go back down to this 15-minute time frame. You guys could have got in, if I can ever find it now. We could have got in with a 10 pip stop and be up massive, okay? And that's cool. That's really, really cool when you can do that. So that, to me, is the secret to making this indicator work, is make sure you hold off. You can do the 3-to-1 if you want. That's where the indicator settings are, and you can change it too to longer. You could put this into 2 positions. I know that works. I've done that a lot, where I take, if I'm going to risk $1,000 on the trade, I'll risk 500 at target 1, and then I'll let it ride, the second part ride for longer gains, just so I get something, just so I make some part of the money. But once you have so right here was my entry, but once you realize that you're a strong trend, you look for a pullback on a lower time frame, and then you can get in on a 15. And you can do that on the hourly as well. It just takes patience to wait for the entries, because you need a really deep pullback. Here there was never really any deep pullbacks. And so when you're trading, since these are reversals, you really, just a little note here, when you're trading reversals against a very strong trend, you want to make sure that you get the break of your support level. You really want to make sure of that. So in this situation, it's looking for some signals right here, but we want to make sure that it will break below these levels. And so right now, I locked in my stop, so I'm currently long on this, and I'm still looking for shorts, even though I'm currently long, which is kind of funny. But what I do know is that right now, this is getting a little tired, okay? Because it popped up. What happened? Popped up again, and now it's going a third time. So I'm actually going to be really aggressive with this. I'm hoping that we get one more move, but I'm not counting on it. I'd love it because I really want to hit my target here, but it was really strong. It just might not do it. So I'm going to be watching this, and I might take this out early if I get some more downward momentum, because I think the reversal is coming. It's coming. And so as we can see this thing tiring out, and we're getting some signals here on the EFC, you see it's got an entry level right here. This is the EFC entry. And that's actually a pretty good level, because it's support. It's support. And so when this support goes, you can take that trade. And again, you just want to put your stop loss above the highs. So right here would be the highs. So if I was going to take this, I'd wait for this to break this level, and then I'd put my stop up here. So it's a pretty big stop still, probably 80 pips. But then since it's an 80 pip, if my entry was right here, the only place, 80 times 3, 8 times 3 is 200 and some pips. My brain is stopped. What's 8 times 3? 24. 240 pips. So I definitely go for an 80 pip stop, 240 pip take profit. So my stop loss would be right here, and my take profit would be, if I got in here, my take profit would be here, okay? And this is on an hourly chart, so we can always drop down to another I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry about that. We can go to another time frame. That's what I was talking about. We can go to another time frame and try to find something on a 15-minute. Just remember, when you get on a lower time frame, you're going to be getting some more signals that might not be accurate, because that's just, the market is more whippy. So you want to keep in mind what's happening on the bigger time scale. So that's why on the daily, I'm like, okay, I'm very oversold. It's moving up. I'm looking at it on here. We're up into this resistance point. Now I want to try to find something on a 15-minute and try to get into the trade that way. So now that I've gone through the training, I think I've covered it pretty well, but we can also just remember this article. I'm going to update the chat. It's in this, link's in the chat, but I'm going to actually update it in the description as well here. I'm putting it in the chat, but I'm going to put it in the description later on as afterwards, so you'll be able to get this. But just read this article, and this will tell you everything you need to know. The cool thing about this article is there's some guides here. There's a video that talks about it. There's a training here that we did. Here's a little cheat sheet. And there's this little cheat sheet card here, rules of the 80-20. So these are all things that are really helpful. You can use all those things to your advantage. And also the indicator, I'll give you access to the indicator as well. Okay, so now that I've done all that, what I want to do now is see if we can get into a trade. So let's go ahead and look at this dashboard and see if I can find something. And I always feel like we can go through training and all that, but it just doesn't have the same impact unless we're actually in a trade. So thanks, Tom, for helping me here. Okay, let's go ahead and look at some of these. Let's go ahead. Let's look at the New Zealand yen. Let's look at that. There we go. Okay, so currently on the New Zealand yen, we're in a very strong downtrend. Okay, it's definitely very strong. And the current signal that we got on it was, oh, wait, it's no pattern found. I thought I just saw one, but let's go ahead and keep looking at it anyway. So it dropped down very strong, very oversold. And the EFC indicator has shown that by highlighting these bars. And now that we know that, we're like, okay, is there a possibility for a reversal here? And I would say yes. Yes, there is. So let's go ahead and get down to a lower time frame now that we know that we're oversold. And you can see, actually, it did trigger something right here, and it gives you the entry, okay, and the stop. And even on an hourly time frame, this is pretty big. So it's got an entry here, 766 pips and 300. Pretty big. Let's take a look now on a lower time frame, on a 15-minute. And you can see on the 15-minute, it's now moving down, currently popping up a little bit. There isn't an actual setting here on the 15-minute, but we know that on the hourly, it was a setting. So you can go ahead and just be like, okay, I can try to get in on this trade if I get a little more price action movement. So what I would probably do if I was going to take this live, I'd say the EFC is telling me there's a signal on an hourly and on the daily. So on the 15-minute, if I want a little bit tighter stop, It's not showing up on the 15, but I know that it is oversold. I already know that, so I don't really need it to tell me that. I don't need the indicator to tell me this on the 15-minute because I know that it's oversold. And if we just look back, though, this is an entry. I just noticed this. This entry here was a perfect trade. You can see the stop loss here was 50, and the target was 153, which to me is a little more doable than a 700 pip target. So if you're trying to use the EFC on an hourly and you get a 750 pip target, that's pretty insane. Just drop it down to a 15 and use that. So at this point, I'm probably going to take this, and for those of you guys that know how I'm trading, I got the signal. I'm now just waiting for a little bit of price action momentum. If I get this to break up, I'm going to take the trade. Now, so let's see what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this level to break. It actually currently did break this little thing here. So I'm in my mind, we've got this little triangle, and this is not part of what the EFC indicator does, but this is just general trading knowledge. That's why you really should understand how the market works and how trading patterns work and all of that stuff. But we have this little triangle here. And I have mentioned in the past, and I'll continue to mention, that if I'm looking at this trade, there's a couple things that this could do. And I'll show you right now. It could break out of here like that, pop back down, and then go like that. It could do something like that. Or, and I always like to look at the winning scenarios and the losing, because I know there's a 50-50 chance once I'm in this trade. Or it could break here like that, this, and then continue down, right? So these are two specific scenarios that can happen, okay? This is what I'm expecting. It's either going to do A or B, either one. Or it could keep going sideways. C is keep going sideways. It's going to do either one of those. So I'm going to wait for this thing. And my bias right now is for long. Why? Because the EFC told me that there's oversold, there's divergence, it's way oversold. So when that happens, that's when reversals happen. But I'm not going to just jump in because it's oversold, because if you do that, if you just jump in when it's oversold, you're going to get crushed over and over again. Big Homie gave me a great, that's such a good comment. The market loves head fakes. So it could do this, right? And do that. Thank you for doing that. Yeah. The market loves doing that, guys. It loves it, right? And so actually that sometimes is one of my strategies, is I wait for it to pop up, and then I wait for another candle. I wait for a break. The problem is I could trade this so many different ways. It's like, how do you know which one to trade it? But you could trade the break here and wait for a reversal candle and then take the short, expecting a head fake, because the market loves to head fake people. It loves it. And so sometimes you could be the guy that knows that the market's going to head fake. But the problem with that is you just don't know what the market's going to do. So you have to make your decision using the best analysis that you can, and you have to stick with it. So if you think that it's going to be a head fake, then you trade it as a head fake. And if you lose, you lose. If you're right, congratulations. And so right now, I'm not thinking about trading this as a head fake. I'm thinking about trading this as a long because of what the EFC is telling me. And so if we look at this, someone wanted to look at the 4-hour here. So if we look at this on the 4-hour, it is currently a very strong downtrend, very strong. We do not have too many long signals here. So that is something to definitely look at as well. However, the reversal has to start somewhere. And so we can see that we got some strong momentum here. Now it's just in this little bit of a pause. And so this, when we see this, it could go right back down here, or it could start to break up. So this is the New Zealand yen, and definitely overextended. I'm just looking for some price action to give me some momentum to carry into the trade, right? And that is all that I'm looking for, really, is just for some momentum. I know that I'm oversold. I don't mind waiting and being patient. But right now, we're just in this. This looks like it's just kind of waiting. It's consolidating. The market is either going to break this thing up or it's going to break it down. It's not going to stay in this sideways range forever. And that is really important to know, that the market is going to move it somewhere. It's going to move it somewhere. So today it could do this for a while. And if it breaks, one of the things, if it breaks, it might just still be in the consolidation form. It might just keep going. But it's looking for a really good move. And yes, the yen has been strong, definitely. And I definitely believe in looking for pullbacks to short the yen, or rather short this New Zealand. Anytime I get a pullback, I'm definitely going to want to short it. But I still can take the long trades as well when it's overextended, because I'm with my risk to reward management that I'm going to be okay doing that if I get the proper signal. So I'm going to just look at some other stuff. Let's see what else this little dashboard is telling us right now. Let's see here. We've got USD. We've got crude oil. Let's go ahead and take a look at crude oil. Crude actually looks a lot like the New Zealand yen. It's just flat. So this actually is not really the greatest time, because of the market. It's been a little slow right now. But you can see crude oil is very overextended to the downside. As a matter of fact, I took this trade earlier this week on the crude oil. I took a trade on crude oil that worked really good as a reversal, and I'll show it to you. I got the reversal signal, and it was right in here. We got a breakout, and I got in right around 24. I got in right around here at 24, and I had a pretty tight stop, and I was able to let that thing go up to about 25.50 was where my target was. So it was pretty nice little trade. Just let that momentum go, even though it was very counter trend. But it was what I was looking at was the overextension. The EFC was showing me overextension, and then there was some resistance down here as well. Some really long-term resistance. If we go to a weekly, you can see it a little better. And so I had this. Oops. Well, actually, there wasn't any resistance here. But I know there was one on one of the charts I was looking at. I just don't have it. On this chart. Okay. So let's go ahead and look at it now. So again, it is currently overextended. We have a buy signal here on the EFC on a 15-minute time frame. And this thing was actually a few points away already from the target. So you can get some nice little trades. This one was 21.39 is the entry, and the stop loss was 20.70. So you're looking at a 60-cent stop loss with a target of 3-to-1, right? And it was very close. And so you could have locked in some profit, and now we're just kind of in a consolidation range. And pretty much whatever I'm looking at, there's not a lot of movement happening right now. And so we might not get a setup here. Today was just kind of an initial training. If I got a setup, I was going to take one, but if I didn't, I'm not. And so I'm just going to hold off. We'll just keep looking through here and see if there's anything else. Let's take a look at this. Well, you know, big homie, that's kind of interesting that you would say that, and I absolutely disagree with that. Just because that's where I made all my big trades. Um, I can show you a couple of my reversals that just went nuts. And if you look at my chat, and that's great. I'm glad that you have a different opinion. So, you know, everybody has different opinions, and I really respect that. So I think that's cool. But like example, this euro dollar trade that I hit was really good. Great. See this thing? I got two awesome reversals. So this one here was my first one. I was able to catch it on the upside, and then I caught this one here on the downside. And they're both radical moves. This was a huge move to the downside, got the long, waited patiently for the reversal. Huge move to the upside, waited patiently for the reversal and got it. I think in this market, catching reversals is amazing. And the reason why is because there's been so much follow through. When you can get follow through like this and just let them ride, it's just amazing because of this strong, like anytime you can go 600 pips up and then 700 pips down, I think it's awesome. But the problem is it's the patience factor. It's waiting for the reversal to get the price action to go to that next level. And so with this, I was very patient on it. I was waiting and waiting and waiting, and there's a couple false signals. I didn't take them. I was waiting, and then finally when I got in, it worked, right? And so I can go ahead and show you the spreadsheet. It was, let's see, where was it? It was right up here on this one, and actually I didn't put the date in it. That's something you should do on your spreadsheet is put the date. But on all my live trades, I can go back and show you because I've taken all these live. It's been really interesting watching this market because these markets had tremendous follow through. Tremendous. Okay. All right. Yes, they are really volatile, and that causes some really crazy swings. And it also has caused me to be whipped out a couple times, even on some winning trades. Like I took the reversal on the New Zealand or on the USD Swiss, and I got whipped out. And so that is part of what happens when you get these volatility. So when you do catch the right direction, try to let it run. I'm going to continue to be trading and updating my trades, and so keep looking out for me. This is the time of day I trade, and I'll be coming in here. We're going to be taking the EFC. I'm going to continue to update my spreadsheet as I take the trades, and I'm only going to take the trade live. So I'm still going to trade, but I'm only going to count it on my challenge if I'm live. I might take one off camera but I won't really talk about it because what happens is sometimes I just don't have time to go live, so I'm not going to update you guys. I'll just take it like I took that crude oil trade and I wasn't live. But sometimes I'll pop in the middle of the day if I have some time. Otherwise, I'm just going to take it on my own. But I am going to be watching this trade for a long here, and if it goes short, I'm not going to trade it just because the EFC is saying oversold. I'm just going to wait. If this does end up going down like this, let's say it breaks and goes down, what I'll do, see, this is kind of cool because it takes patience, but it's good. What I'll do is it goes down here, and because it's oversold and I'm really expecting some kind of reversal, I'll wait for it. So it'll go down here, and it'll hang down here a little bit, up and down, up and down, up and down. And then I'll just wait for the next reversal signal to happen. And because I am still looking for that reversal. I like to take trend trades, but when it's too oversold, I don't like to do it. So I'm going to wait. Okay, actually, I'm going to take this right now. This is it. So I'm going to take this trade. If we can get a little more follow through, this is actually interesting because just 10 seconds ago it was down here. I'm going to take this as it breaks through, and we're going to take this. This is a reversal trade, but it's got to break through that a little stronger. But anyhow, I want to short this, but I got to wait for the market to tell me that it's going to be ready to short again. So I'd like to see this thing go up a little bit more. It's already gone up some, but I'd like to see this thing pull up into some of these key levels before. And the EFC indicator will tell me. It will tell me, you know, when. So up into this, and I drew that backwards, I think, but when it gets up into this level, once we see a little bit more retracement, then I'll be looking to short. But the EFC indicator will give me all of those details. Okay. Oh, this indicator isn't new. I've had this thing forever. This is very old. And if you missed the training, just go back to the beginning of the video, and it has it. I put the article link in the chat. I'll put it in there again. And you can get access to the indicator from the article, I believe. Or you don't need the indicator either. You can just trade it without an indicator. The nicest thing about the indicator, in my mind, is the dashboard, because it scans the market, and you can kind of see when setups are happening without having to check every trade. So this New Zealand yen is trying to break out. I'm looking for a little bit more follow through. We got a nice bar, a nice candle forming, and it's really trying to go here. And so I'm going to be looking. Let's take a look where I'm going to put my stop loss. I'm going to put it about 50 pips. So while I'm waiting for that, we can maybe look at NCD. New Zealand yen pip calculator. So oh, so it showed the same 62 here. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take this, and there we go. It's long, and again, this is educational purposes only. I don't want anyone to follow me, because you guys can't do what I do. Not that you can't do what I do, but you're just not me. This is educational. And so I got in, and again, Big Homie might have nailed it, and he called the head fake, and I'll be looking like a bozo, but I'm used to that, because the market has made me look like a bozo forever. And so I'm going to go ahead and take it. It looks like it's getting rejected here, but I got that spike, so I'm happy with it. I'm no complaints. So I'm going up here for my 3-to-1 risk to reward, and there we have it. Okay, and so my stop loss is about 50 some pips, 53, and my take profit is about 150. And there's the trade. Hopefully this training was helpful and enjoyable. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Please leave a like on it, leave a comment. This is for your guys' education and training, trying to help everybody, especially for people that had any questions about how to use the MACD. And I'll be back. I'll keep posting these things. But thanks a lot, guys. Really appreciate everybody. I'll be keeping everybody updated. Remember, I do have 2 trades on. I have this USD Swiss as well as the this New Zealand yen, and I could potentially be taking this one as a short too. If I do take this as a short, I might just close this trade and then go short on it, right? because I've got so much out of it on the long side. And it's looking like it's trying to reverse. But again, it could head fake and do all that fun stuff that the market does. But again, thanks, guys. Great. This will be recorded automatically because it's part of the social media live stream. So it'll automatically be there when this is over. You can watch it anytime you want. Okay, great, guys. Thank you. And that's it for today. See you soon.